Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on Astropods. Today I'll be talking about the progress and the challenges that lies ahead in the eradication of the polio virus. As at 1988, more than 350,000 cases was reported annually of kids suffering from one form or another of irreparable and irreversible paralysis, brain damage, and sometimes death. With the help of organizations like the Rotary Club that took up the fight to making sure that this thing becomes a thing of the past. As at 1996, the number reduced to 75,000 kids suffering from irreparable paralysis. This prompted the leaders of a particular region to rise up and launch a campaign that will chase this thing out of their continent, hence eradicating this particular virus from the world. By 2012, a particular country in the world accounts for more than half of the cases at the time. Now, what is the state of polio eradication in the world today? What achievement has been made? And what are the challenges that lies ahead? These and much more I'll be talking about today on the podcast. I am Hassan and this is Astropods. To begin with, let's start with a definite understanding of what polio is. Like they say, if you don't know where you're coming from, you may find it hard to figure out where you're going to. So polio, as defined by the World Health Organization and other reputable organizations, is basically, polio is a highly infectious viral disease that largely affects children under 5 years of age. The virus is transmitted by person-to-person spread mainly through the fecal-oral route, or less frequently by a common vehicle, that is contaminated water or food, and multiplies in the intestine, from where it can invade the nervous system and cause paralysis. Do you understand what that is? Like this, it says here, polio is a highly infectious viral disease, and it mainly affects kids between 5 years of age, within that period of time. And it says here that the virus is transmitted by person-to-person spread mainly through the fecal-oral route. Now, when you hear oral, that's like your mouth. Fecal is like feces. So it's basically something like you touch feces and you put it in your mouth. But these are kids. Now, this is how this is. Let's paint a picture of it. An adult or somebody that has this virus when uses the bathroom, cleans up, gets out, but did not clean up thoroughly, did not wash his hands thoroughly. Hence, there are some, parasites, or some of those, pathogens, or is it what do I call it again? Some of those things just hanging around. And the man opens, or the lady opens the door of the bathroom, gets out. A little boy or little girl within that age of between 1 and 5 goes into the bathroom, opens the door, touches that same knob that person had touched earlier, opens the door, pee or do whatever. Before kids are always putting their hands in their mouth. He's putting his hand in his mouth. Remember, the person that just used the bathroom did not even wash his hands thoroughly. That is the most common way that this virus passes around, when people use the bathroom and they don't use it thoroughly. Even if you guys remember, even the case of coronavirus, they said it was more prevalent in the bathrooms because of those what's it called, micronuclear things that you cannot see, but when you use the bathroom, it's all in the air. So that's the way. But in the case of polio, you have to touch something and put it in your mouth, or to the person that is dirty, touches the water that you want to drink, and you drink from that same glass, you may get contaminated and infected. So now, this particular case of polio, but to me, it's home to me directly, because I am a son of a woman that was not born paralyzed, but is paralyzed today. Even her did not know that what happened to her is polio. Africans, they are quick to say is one thing or is another. They don't always resort to medical understanding of things. They believe in metaphysical things, or just believing that it's God that did it. And the reason I'm doing this today is because if my mother or my mother's parents had known that what happened to her at the time many years ago was a polio related problem, perhaps they would have sought to get some of the vaccines. Maybe she would have had a chance to have both of her legs functioning properly. So this is the reason why this particular message today, it's home for me. And it's a major victory lap that the world is a step or two closer to completely eradicating polio. If you are not born paralyzed and you suddenly develop some kind of paralysis in your legs and limbs and stuff, the thing that happens is that your life is taken away from you from that moment, because you cannot compete with other human beings the way you would love to compete. You are limited by your mobility. So let's go on and enjoy this podcast today, while we just drop some of the facts that we know. Alright. So, like I said in my opening statement, polio used to be around 350,000 people kids annually as of 1988. Then the Rotary Club came to the rescue. However, I would like to say at this point that was not the first time that people would polio would be a thing of common knowledge, because as at 1979, America was already polio free. I'm talking about the United States of America. And by 1994, the whole of Americas, like Latin and South America, and the rest of them, were already polio free. And this also continued to 2002, when Europe was declared polio free. And even India, from 1997, with the efforts, by 2014, India was declared polio free. But it's just good to note that America, the United States of America, has been polio free since 1979. You might now say, okay, but when the Rotary Club decided to launch this campaign that they call the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, GPEI, in 1988, immediately great organizations like the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that's America right there, our CDC, CDC, Bill and Melinda Gates joined them in 2007, and the Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, also joined. I think that was last year. That was another company that's also run or owned by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So these and a lot of other organizations join hands to support the Rotary Club in ensuring that the world becomes a polio-free world. This campaign was greatly appreciated, and the progress that was made was immense. As you know, at the time the Rotary Club was trying to leverage on their very robust base. The Rotary Club then had about 35,000 clubs. All right, 1.22 million members in 200 countries. So this initiative was that they were going to use their base there, and for those that do not know, okay, the Rotary Club is an international non-profit service organization. That's what they do. They are international non-profit service organization. So they are the kind of, like the UNICEF, like the, these are organizations that are non-profit, but they are into providing services that will further the betterment of humanity. That's what they do. Rotary Club is a very, very noble club. Mainly scientific things, medical things, really. So they started this campaign, and it was successful. So with this going on, so from that 350,000 cases as at 1988, the number was coming down sharply. But Africa was not, I won't say we are not ready, but Africa, it became like a bottleneck continent. And with that being said, there was a particular meeting, all right, in what's it called? In Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon, by the African leaders at the time in 1996. In that meeting, Nelson Mandela, the great late Nelson Mandela, launched a campaign that he called Kick Polio Out of Africa. Alright? Because in that meeting, they realized that 75,000 African children were suffering from this wild polio, which causes, like I said, irreparable paralysis, brain damage, and sometimes death. Because once this virus is in your intestine, it gets your cord, your spinal cord, and your central nervous system. It just messes up with your limbs, so you cannot really walk. You can't do nothing. I'm from a country where there's a street called Kano Street in Lagos State. When people want to give harms, like want to do some charitable things, they say go to Kano Street because you can see a lot of crippled people there. Now, as Nigerians, I want to be docile, but I would say this though, that we didn't. I think most people, at least for me at the time, I thought maybe they were born that maybe their parents did not eat the right food when they were conceived and all those things. But the reason why those people are paralyzed is that very reason, that polio, that has paralyzed these kids, because most of them were not born that way. But improper hygiene, dirtiness, filth in their surroundings, and these kids, for by one means or another, they pass this thing to them through the fecal oral route. That's what happens. And the kids before or by the age of 5 start becoming crippled, basically. So we see these things in Nigeria. We see these kids. So we do not know that that's polio that is affecting the lives and the future of our kids. So many crippled people in Nigeria, as well as other parts of the world, like the Bangladesh, the India, the other countries of the world. And I will tell you where we have what's going on with the issue of polio in a matter of minutes. So they launched this organization, this one that Nelson Mandela, God rest his soul, spearheaded, which is the Kick Polio Out of Africa campaign. And this campaign actually partnered with the Rotary Club. Remember, Rotary Club has been doing this thing since 1988. So they have an experience, they have the manpower, the wherewithal to do these things. So they started this campaign. And the good part of it is that African leaders bought into this particular mission. Remember, as of 1996, some countries in Africa were governed by military people. They had a military head of state. I think that was in the case of Nigeria as of 1996. Some countries had turmoil, conflict, internal unrest in their country. But regardless of all of these forces, these leaders bought into this particular mission to eradicate polio out of Africa, because Africa was identified as the one continent that is slowing the pace of eradicating polio out of this world, making it becoming a thing of the past. I would like to say at this point that eradication of polio in Africa will be the second time that Africa will eradicate a particular disease out of their constant ends out of the world. The first one was smallpox, and that was done about 40 years ago. Now the next one right now is polio. We have a lot of grounds to cover, but if we can a step at a time eradicate some of these things that disturbs people, that hampers and hinders your growth and progress in life, I think we are giving ourselves a fighting chance. Now back to what I'm saying. So we have this going on since that time, alright? And the Rotary Club immediately started this campaign, and they brought all their mechanisms, their manpowers together alongside partner with them African organizations too, they are like branches in Africa in so many African countries. And by in the year 2000, right? From 1996 and by in the year 2000, the first multi-country synchronized polio vaccination campaign reached 76 million children across 17 countries in West and Central Africa. 2 million of these children had never been vaccinated. So, as a result of that particular campaign that they launched in 1996 in that Yaoundé AU meeting, African Union, they call it, meeting. By 2000, 76 million children across 17 countries in West Africa and Central Africa. 2 million of these children had never been vaccinated. So it was that joint effort. They were able to, I'm talking about 17 countries, multi-country synchronized. So from, like, you go from South Africa to Kenya to Mozambique to Ethiopia, then Tanzania, Rwanda. It was a collective effort because Africa bought in for that one common goal. Many things we can appreciate from this particular case of polio eradication in Africa. So the success was really a welcome development, but was short-lived because by 2012, just about the time that they were about to declare Africa polio free and all those things, they realized that Nigeria, at the time, like I said earlier, accounted for about half of the cases of polio in the world. Would you believe that? Where in Nigeria? It was in northern part of Nigeria. Wow. These people were not being vaccinated and they were having polio like crazy. So this really slowed down the pace of the growth. So Africa could not be declared polio free because the virus is still there in Nigeria. And if it's in Nigeria, if it's in northern part of Nigeria, so immediately the organizations, the Rotary Club and some of these organizations in Nigeria themselves or their extension, like Nigeria Polio Program and all those things, they immediately had a setup that immediately looked into the sort of like facilities in neighboring countries in that northern part of Nigeria. We're talking about Chad, we're talking about Niger, we're talking about some of the other countries, Cameroon and the rest of them. So they immediately launched offices or different centers in those places so that they can curb the spread of the virus in those regions. All right. And you now want to ask yourself, why? Since 1996, they've been doing this, they've been doing this thing. By 2000, they have recorded a great deal of progress. But by 2012, look at, that's 12 years apart. Nigeria is still dealing with polio virus. I remember for me when I was in Nigeria, at least I got vaccinated at least 2 times that I can remember. And there were one time when I was, I don't know, I think when I was a little child, they vaccinated me. When I grew a little bit older, I remember I got vaccinated. And before, I think when I was around maybe 10 or so, I still got another vaccination. I was like, God, Jesus, I've had this thing before. Why you guys keep coming to give me more vaccinations? But now I know that, it's all to protect you. And the ones I got was the one that we were injected. My mother would like, just stay still, let them inject you, and I said, okay, well, I think it's going to be good for me. My mother is telling me to stay still so that they can inject me. Now, what I just said now, a lot of people in the northern part of Nigeria did not know or did not buy into that kind of ideology of giving somebody your child to inject it. They don't believe in those kind of stuff of Western or civilized way of doing things. So this is the problem that we started having. So I'm going to identify 3 major problems why Nigeria remained the last country in Africa to completely eradicate polio. Understanding that Africa as a continent is big and very vast. It's a continent that is home to more than 1.3 billion people. The land mass is amazing. Some parts you can even reach with your leg or with your car or with your bicycle. You're going to have to use a cane to paddle into some villages. That's how big and how, and remote the African villages are. So at this point, I would like to give huge props, massive props to the respect and appreciation to the workers, because people that actually do these things, they are volunteers. They volunteer to do it. They are not like, they volunteer to do these things. And some of them have died in the course of getting this job done because they are trying to access inaccessible places. And I just want to say at this point that thank you so much for all you've done for the African kids, for the generation of Africa, for the beauty of this world. Like I said, I am a son of a woman who suffers from polio virus. Now, moving forward. So I said 3 things. The inaccessibility, all right, of some of these African terrains, the miseducation of the African people, and lastly, the security or insecurity of the African people. All of this, I'm talking about focusing on the northern part of Nigeria that was identified to be the particular region or place that was disturbing or was slowing down the progress of the eradication of wild polio in Africa. Now, I said 3 things, right? Inaccessibility, miseducation, and of course, insecurity. So inaccessibility, like I said, the diverse African terrain, lack of adequate healthcare, and the distance, from between hospital to the village or to the place where people are living is so massive, So it's hard to reach these people. All right. So there's that. There's lack of good roads and consistent migration due to conflict and natural disasters. So to tackle this, the polio eradication team developed a unique technique by setting up special transit teams, all right, in fixed locations such as markets and border checkpoints. And this method resulted to the vaccination of at least 299,000 children out of a conflict-affected area in Borno State as at 2017. This really happened. As most of us will know, or some of that do not know, one of the reasons why this became a thing is because there was terrorism going on, or there is terrorism going on in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, northeast, west part of Nigeria. So Borno State is a state in the northeastern part of Nigeria, which is actually the hotbed of Boko Haram terrorist activities. So people are constantly moving, leaving their village because they have been terrorized. They've killed their parents, they've killed their daughters, they've raped them. They are doing so many heinous things to these people. So this really hampered the growth and the progress of the polio eradication team. So that's why they developed this method of setting up, offices in they call it, like I said, they call it the transit teams, all right, in marketplaces, because they're not going to go to market, in border checkpoints. And this resulted to the vaccination of at least 299,000 kids that were moving, out of a particular conflict area in Borno State. Think about that. Next, moving on, is the miseducation. Like this person said, his name is Pascal Mukanda. All right, is a polio eradication program coordinator for the World Health Organization African region. It says that in 2003-2004, in Nigeria, there were rumors and disinformation that this virus. Sorry, let me do that again. In 2003-2004, in Nigeria, there were rumors and disinformation that this vaccine would cause HIV and infertility. That's what this man says. That's what they were hearing. That would cause HIV and infertility. So people were very hesitant to let anybody come and drop anything in their kid's mouth that no, my kids will not be able to, my kids have HIV and be infertile. Now, this is not new to me because, like I said, Boko Haram is a terrorist organization. And this right here, this miseducation is a problem. Remember, guys, for those that do not know, Boko Haram, the terrorist group that is threatening the lives and property of people in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. Boko Haram simply means Boko means education, Western education. Haram means forbidden. So Boko Haram simply means that the Western education is forbidden. So these are people that they are the Boko Harams. No, I'm not talking about all of everybody there. I mean, that's where not that part of Nigeria. That's where Boko Haram comes from, right? So there's this thing like they are not always receptive of formal or Western education, and this even dates back to the colonial days of Nigeria, when the northern part of Nigeria was the only part of Nigeria that would not accept or would not want to be part of the new found nation called Nigeria because they don't believe in this Western arrangement. That has always been a thing about these people. I'm not saying they are docile because they are not. There are many intelligent, massively intelligent people in the northern part of Nigeria. I'm just saying that this is a common belief, this miseducation or lack of education. And this idea is largely conceived and propagated by their religious leaders, because in this part of the country they give a lot of power and authority to their religious and their traditional leaders. And so if they say that this is not good for you without even consultation or research, these people just follow the lead. They follow their leader. That's what they do in the north. So this was a big problem for the volunteers, for the health workers to vaccinate these kids, because their parents, the parents of these kids are already like, no, don't touch my kid. I don't want to give my kid any HIV. I don't want you to give my baby any what's it called, infertility in future. I don't know where they got that notion from. It took the help of the Emir of Kano at that time, whose name is Muhammad Sanusi, is the Emir of Kano City, to publicly demonstrate, apply, and encourage the people of Kano and the rest of the northern region that it is safe for them to use this thing. He publicly had to administer it on himself. Then, this happened in 2016. Then the parents, the northerners were confident, because if their leader could use it and encourage them to allow them to use it on their babies, then they think it's definitely a safe thing to do. Remember, these are the northerners. They believe so much in hierarchy, in leadership. They follow their leader to any length. So when this happened in 2016, and that marked the last time that the polio case was recorded in Nigeria, it stopped in 2016, partly with the help of the Emir of Kano, whose name is Muhammad Sanusi. And the third factor, which is not the least actually, like I've already mentioned, is the security problem that Nigerians were facing. And this actually will definitely affect the health workers. So now the security issue was a big one, because the Boko Haram terrorist group actually became a thing in 2002. All right. So, and by 2012, 2016, they were already rampaging the whole of northern part of Nigeria. Hence, the healthcare workers were scared for their lives. Were scared to do. Even as I'm talking at this point, we cannot definitely say that they've covered the whole kids in the northern part of Nigeria. No, because there's some places that you cannot just go to. So, like, the state of insecurity in the northern part of Nigeria, coupled with aforementioned factors, was a major impediment. The rise of the Islamic terrorist group Boko Haram in the northeastern part of the country since 2002 slowed the vaccination progress drastically. It slowed it like crazy. So they couldn't do much, and they had to, a lot of times they had to be accompanied by the soldiers, and sometimes even, according to Pascal Nkanda, the soldiers also had to be taught how to administer these things on these kids, so that sometimes that they cannot come and do it, maybe the soldiers can go into those communities and help those kids out. These are the measures that they took. Sometimes these people will have to do it quickly before they hear some kind of shooting in the neighborhood. Some of them lost their lives to this effort, and we owe it to them to appreciate them a time and again for their heroic acts. Their Herculean act of courage has literally saved the lives and changed the trajectory of thousands, if not millions, of kids in Africa and the rest of the world. We owe it to them a lot. And in the words of Dr. Tunji Funshaw, who is the director of the Rotary Club in Nigeria, he said that we did not accomplish this alone. Tens of thousands of health workers have dedicated their lives to fighting polio throughout Africa. That's to my point. And if further said that the magnitude of this achievement cannot be overstated. It should inspire confidence in Africa's ability to overcome even the most formidable public health challenges. How we got here is a remarkable story that shows what Africa can achieve when its nations unite behind a common goal. That just goes back to what I said when Nelson Mandela kicked off the campaign in 1996. It's late now, but you see, the progress of that thing continues. We appreciate this because for me, I believe strongly that you will not appreciate light until you see darkness. You may never appreciate what it feels to be happy until you are saddened by something. You will not appreciate, the beat of the sun until you see the rain. And you may not know what it feels like to be crippled because you are walking. So now the fact that these kids have the opportunity to live a mobile life, to walk and run freely, is a thing of joy. So we thank these workers a lot for helping to change the trajectory of these kids' life, for helping to make them have a chance to have a very prosperous life, to have at least the opportunity to compete in a world that's full of competition. They are not disadvantaged no more. That is a really great thing. Now, what next? What more? Okay. The question now is, Hassan, are you saying that polio is completely eradicated from the world? No. As a matter of fact, we are still 2 countries shy from having a world free of wild polio. And it is Pakistan and Afghanistan. And as you may already know, the reason for this is because of the coronavirus pandemic. So there's a worldwide lockdown and people are not moving the way they should. But those countries have reopened their effort to vaccinate their kids from every nooks and crannies of their countries. So I hope that very soon, maybe 2-3 years from now max, we will have a world free of polio virus. Now, there is an underlying thing here that I would like us to just quickly keep in mind, because according to what this man says, Michael Galway is a polio expert at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He says, until wild polio virus is eradicated everywhere, it's still a risk everywhere. And because Afghanistan and Pakistan are still lagging behind, it's going to be a issue, because until we can definitively say that Pakistan and Afghanistan have, been cleared of any polio virus, wild polio virus case, we cannot declare victory on the polio virus just yet. But we are very close, because Nigeria used to be the hotbed of it, and Nigeria is working hard tirelessly to getting it done. And I know that with the same kind of effort and intelligence, we can achieve a polio-free world. I can't wait for us to have a polio-free world, and I thank greatly everybody that is involved, especially the Rotary Club, the World Health Organization, the CDC, always leading the way, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Gavi Alliance for Vaccination. Everything that they've done is greatly appreciated. Now, but like I said, that's not the end of it, because there's another underlying problem, which is the circulating vaccine-derived polio. What is this? All right, so circulating vaccine-derived polio is a rare mutated form of the weakened but live virus contained in the oral polio vaccine. Whoa, that's not what I'm talking about. So you mean it's not ready? Okay, it is. How can I put it? It is ready. I mean, this form of is a virus. And one thing about virus, I've said this before in one of my podcasts, that I've learned about it, even though I'm not a doctor, is that they are like every other living thing. They want to survive. So if you try to corner them one way, they'll come out the other way. Now, in this case, it is the mutated virus. It's basically in the oral vaccination that they apply on those kids, that they administer on those kids. It's basically they're dropping it's like a drop of water in their mouth. In that particular oral vaccination method, there is a weakened but alive virus of that polio in it. So we have seen some cases now that even at that level, all right, that there's a tendency that virus can come to life in their body. And we've had at least 16 countries now that are having cases, but it's not yet like a pandemic yet, because what happens is that with that kind of situation, that virus can now morph into the actual wild virus and hence cause a paralysis in those people's body. So you don't want to have that happen. So there's that case now that's going on. It's called the cVDPV. cVDPV. Circulating vaccine derived polio. Circulating vaccine derived polio. So it is basically a mutated form of that same virus, because in the administration of that polio vaccine, there is a live but weakened virus in it, and then maybe it gets in those people's intestine and it gets kind of some kind of power. But there's a way to tackle that, and the countries that are right now struggling, or that have reported cases of this cVDPV are actually the assisting countries, and their names are Angola, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Ivory Coast, Congo, Ethiopia, Guinea, Ghana, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Togo, and Zambia. So as we are celebrating this, we must remember that this progress is fragile. We must redouble our commitment to keep wild polio out of Africa, and hence cVDPVs. Even now in northeastern Nigeria, thousands of children remain out of reach of health workers carrying out vaccinations. So we have a cause to celebrate, but we should still also understand that there's this circulating vaccine derived polio that is somewhat like an emerging threat. But how do we take care of this? Simple, from what I read, is basically those people that have reported those cases, or from this point moving forward, they should stop using the oral polio vaccination, because that, like I said, it contains the weakened polio virus itself. They should rather use the injection, like the one they gave me, and millions of kids around the world, because from what I read, injection has a killed virus in it. So the virus in that, a killed polio virus in it. So the virus in the injected one that they give to us on our arm, in our shoulder area, doesn't contain a living virus that is weakened. This one is a dead virus that's in that vaccine. So when they start applying those kind of injected ones on those kids, maybe there will be a lasting solution, because that's what the report says from a very reputable organization. So that's where we are on that very case. So we are like just this close to having a world free of both wild and the circulating vaccine derived polio. And I'm so excited to report this one. I took my time to study hard and long about this, and I believe it with a quote from this same Mr. Dr. Tunji Funsho, who is like I said, is the director of Rotary Club in Nigeria. He says, and I quote, "One thing I know for certain is if Nigeria could eliminate the wild polio virus, any country can eliminate it." And that's the podcast for today, ladies and gentlemen. I remain as Sanola Raju. Thanks a lot for listening to this podcast. Please like, love, share, comment, and subscribe. Please, you can also reach out to us on Astropods. That's our Twitter handle. Astropods, that's our Instagram handle, and at astropod@gmail.com if you want to email us. Thanks again for listening, guys. Thank you. Be safe. Bye for now.